Hello everyone, welcome to a webinar on consolidating IT operations data into a unified dashboard. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Cherubina and I'm a product expert at Analytics Plus, ManageEngine's IT analytics solution. Before we get started, I'd like to share with you all some useful information about our session today. If you have any questions during the course of this webinar, feel free to type them in using the chat icon on the left panel of your screen. I'll do my best to address them towards the end of the webinar. And in the event that we run short on time, I'll respond to your questions later via email. You can of course also choose to email your questions to me directly at the email address that's on your screen right now. So over the course of today's session, we will be covering a step-by-step detailed strategy that will help organizations unify IT operations data into a single unified dashboard. So I get the chance to regularly interact with customers, and one of the things that most people want to do is consolidate all of their IT operations data into a single dashboard. However, this remains a distant dream for the majority of people because they assume it requires a lot of expertise to funnel all the data to a single data set and build unified dashboards on top of it. So I decided to do this webinar around this topic and use this opportunity to break the myth that it requires a data scientist level expertise to build a unified view of IT and show you how this can be achieved easily. So constructing a unified view of your IT can be broken down into the following stages. Having an IT analytics solution like Analytics Plus set up greatly reduces the amount of heavy lifting you have to do across each of these stages in order to get the end result of a unified IT analytics dashboard. Let's get started. So the first step in our march to unify IT data is to identify the IT applications that hold valuable data for analysis. So an organization typically uses anywhere between 20 to 30 different IT applications to run IT operations. However, not all of them hold data that is useful for your IT dashboard. To see the most benefit in the shortest amount of time, focus on the primary set of critical apps that are essential for smooth IT operations. And this primary set should include your help desk ticketing software that is used by employees to raise incidents and service requests, your network monitoring solution that monitors your infrastructure, your endpoint management solution that is critical for patch compliance, a privilege access management solution which serves as the gateway for accessing sensitive infrastructure components, and finally, a log management solution that captures all the activities in the IT infrastructure. Though the focus area for an organization can include other IT apps as well, the software that I mentioned should be a part of the initial set of IT applications that you set out to include in your unified IT dashboard. You should also be careful in ensuring you don't pile on too many of your IT solutions in this step to ensure you see quick results. Your initial focus set can be larger in cases where you have an IT analytics solution that offers out-of-the-box connectors to at least 70 to 80% of the apps that you're trying to connect. I'll talk a little bit more about this in the next point, which is extracting IT operations data into a single repository. This is the work. So the work that is involved in this step, where you extract data from IT apps, this is the phase which throws off most IT teams. The complexity that is involved in understanding data models in IT apps and figuring out the best method to extract that data requires time and effort. But not if you have an IT analytics solution like Analytics Plus. So Analytics Plus offers out-of-the-box integrations with popular IT software in the various domains that I discussed in the previous step. Analytics Plus has default connectors to help desk software such as Service Desk Plus, Ivanti, ServiceNow, Jira Service Management, Zendesk, and more. IT infrastructure monitoring solutions such as Manage Engine Op Manager, SolarWinds, Site 24/7, and much more. Security and patch management solutions such as PAM 360, Splunk, and Point Central can also be easily connected to the application. Now you may wonder, why do these out-of-the-box integrations matter so much? So when you connect Analytics Plus to any of your IT apps, all that is required as input from your side is the credentials to establish the connection. Analytics Plus fetches all relevant data, does the pre-processing necessary for analysis, lays out the data in the form of spreadsheets, and builds the necessary dashboard, all in a matter of minutes. This activity, when done manually, could take days, if not weeks, to complete. Analytics Plus also ensures future compatibility, which means any new modules or modifications that third-party vendors make in their applications is handled in Analytics Plus automatically. That way you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. And this out-of-the-box analytics is one of the main reasons why customers love Analytics Plus. So here's a workspace that I've set up, which is connected to Manage Engine Service Desk Plus, where pretty much all of the insights I need from Service Desk Plus are readily available for me. I don't even need to lift a finger. And this same analysis applies to any other help desk such as ServiceNow, Zendesk, Ivanti, etc. Now, what if you run an application that Analytics Plus does not have an out-of-the-box integration with? Don't worry, you can easily build your own integrations in a matter of minutes. Now, there are two primary ways through which you can import data from an IT application into Analytics Plus. You could connect to the backend database that supports your application and fetch the data from the underlying tables, or choose to connect to the application's APIs to periodically synchronize the data. So Analytics Plus has out-of-the-box connectors to pretty much all the on-premise and cloud databases, so you are covered should you choose to go the first route. Let me show you the list of databases you can import data from. However, in the case of IT applications, I would recommend extracting data using APIs. This is primarily because software vendors periodically change the way data gets stored in their backend databases to make it more efficient and optimized. But APIs, on the other hand, do not undergo major changes, and software vendors always maintain backward compatibility in the rare event that they do change something in their APIs. And output from APIs can be stored in Analytics Plus as tables. Let me show you how this works with an example of a network monitoring software for which Analytics Plus does not provide out-of-the-box analytics. So PRTG is a popular NMS used across several organizations. Assuming PRTG is used as the primary NMS in my organization, I'll show you how you can easily extract data from PRTG's APIs. Now, this process might feel a little daunting at first, but trust me, it is not as complicated as it seems. Of course, if you don't have the time to spend on APIs, you always have the option to reach out to the Analytics Plus support. And our product experts will be more than happy to help you with this portion of your journey towards building a unified IT analytics dashboard. So PRTG's API documentation states that the mode of authentication for PRTG API is through the API key or pass hash. And the API support output in the form of XML, JSON, and CSV files. Now, Analytics Plus supports all three of these file formats, so it's up to me to choose the format that I'm most comfortable with. And this is a sample URL format for making the API call. Most APIs support data export via simple HTTP calls, which means you just construct the URL in the format specified in a software vendor's API documentation and paste that in your web browser. And the application delivers the data in the output file format of your choice. Let's assume that we need to export the list of devices that are being monitored within my organization using PRTG. I see the base URL that I need to use in my API. And this is to be followed with the list of columns I wish to export. As such, this is the API that I've constructed. Here is my base URL, followed by the username and pass hash, the output file format, and the list of columns that I want to export from PRTG. I can quickly check if this API URL that I constructed is correct by simply launching this in my web browser. If everything goes well, I should see an output file get downloaded that has the list of the fields that I choose to export. Of course, you can also use a tool like Postman to test API output, but if you're not already familiar with it, stick to the web address. However, I must say that in situations where the software does not support simple authentication like an API key or the pass hash, you may have to use Postman because it might not be possible to pass authentication for tools that use OAuth in the form of a URL. I'm not going to go into details of what Postman is or how you should use it, as this is a pretty straightforward tool which has a lot of online resources and videos that should help you understand how it works. Regardless, let's take this API that we've constructed and use this to import the inventory data from PRTG into Analytics Plus. So I'm just going to copy this. And as I'm trying to create a unified dashboard, I need to ensure that all the data that I funnel in should be in the same workspace in Analytics Plus. So let's head back to that workspace in Analytics Plus. I'm at the Import Your Data page, and from here, I'm going to head into the Files and Feeds section. Provide a name for the table that I'm importing, and paste the API URL that we've constructed. So I can get a preview of the data that I'm bringing in by clicking on Next. And as I can see here, all the columns and the data that I specified from my PRTG inventory module are being imported into Analytics Plus. So I can go ahead and click on Create to create this table. Now I have an option here which allows me to schedule this import and set up periodic synchronization of data. To do that, I can just click on this option and select the synchronization frequency using this section. Let's assume I want it to be synchronized every day, and I can click on Save. So that is pretty much it. Now you have set up periodic synchronization of the inventory data from PRTG into Analytics Plus. And you can repeat the same set of steps with the respective APIs for other modules such as performance metrics, alarms, events, logs from PRTG, and build your own connector. Now we have successfully imported data from an NMS solution into the workspace, which already has data from Service Desk Plus. So we have two of our primary pieces which constitute IT operations data. Now I can quickly connect data from my endpoint management solution from this page. So as you can see here, all these applications are available as out-of-the-box connectors. And by simply clicking on the respective tiles, I can bring in data from Endpoint Central, from PAM360, data from my SIEM solution, say Splunk, all of this into this workspace, because Analytics Plus offers out-of-the-box integration with all these applications, so it's a quick breeze to set up the integration. I'm not going to go over setting up each of these integrations individually, because these out-of-the-box integrations are pretty straightforward to set up. And in the event that you have a solution that is not supported out of the box, you can simply use the methodology that I used to import data from PRTG using APIs. Now I've already set up integrations with Service Plus, with Endpoint Central, Splunk, all these solutions, and also imported data from PRTG into another workspace, which I'd pre-built for our session here today, in the interest of time. So as you can see here, this workspace has data from all the applications that we just discussed. Now that I have data from all my primary IT apps, the next thing I need to do before I start building my unified IT dashboard is to cross-link data points between these IT apps. And that takes us to the next phase of our journey in building a unified IT dashboard, data blending. In order to perform meaningful analysis and cross-correlate data from various IT tools in a contextual manner, we need to connect data points that are interrelated. And this is a very crucial step, because without these interrelations or connected data points, the data from these various apps are still in their own silos, even though they are sitting within the same workspace. There are several of such common data points within IT that you can use to connect data from two or more of your IT applications. For instance, let's stick with our example of PRTG, and let's assume you wish to connect data from your NMS with your IT help desk. Now, the asset module in an IT help desk should ideally include all the resources and devices that are being monitored by your NMS software. Similarly, the endpoints being managed in your endpoint monitoring solution should also ideally be present in your asset module of your IT help desk. So Analytics Plus offers a feature called lookups that allow you to connect two data points together. In our case, I'm going to connect, i.e. look up, the device name present in my PRTG table with the asset names present in Service Plus. Now, to do that, I need to ensure that the data type of the data points that I'm trying to connect are of the same value, same type. So I'm going to quickly right-click this column and change the data type to a multi-line text, which is the data type of the column I'm trying to look up. Once that's done, I'm going to head back to the same column, click on Change to Lookup column, and select the asset name from the assets table in Service Plus. Those of you who are familiar with databases would be accustomed to the concept of a primary key and a foreign key relationship. Now, lookups pretty much follow the same concept by allowing you to interlink two or more columns. Now, by linking PRTG's inventory table with Service Plus's asset table, I have created a logical connection between the two. So now, every time I create a report using the assets table in Service Plus, the fields from PRTG's inventory table will also be available for me to use in my report. I can choose to include the fields from PRTG and Service Plus in the same report and generate analysis based on this correlated data. For instance, I can set up a correlation and understand the correlation between the number of tickets raised on a help desk for a server against the number of alarms generated by the same server. And such correlations are essential for IT teams in order to judge the impact of a server downtime on the productivity of employees. There will also be cases where you may not find such common data points between two applications, thus preventing you from being able to create lookups for cross-correlation. Don't worry. In such situations, the query table functionality in Analytics Plus comes in handy. For instance, let's assume my organization recently acquired another company that uses ServiceNow as their incident management software, whereas my organization uses Service Desk Plus. However, top management wants to collectively see the total number of incidents generated per month, which needs to include data from both Service Desk Plus and ServiceNow. Now, I'm not going to find any common points between these two applications. In such cases, I can simply use basic SQL joins to combine the data from two disparate data sources. Now that I've imported data from ServiceNow into the same workspace, I can quickly create a query table using a union function to list incidents from both these applications within the same table. For the sake of our session, I've already built this specific table, which, as you can see here, is a very basic table that I've created where I've brought in the instance from ServiceNow as well as the request and incidents from the request table in Service Desk Plus. Now I can choose to add more columns from either ServiceNow or Service Desk Plus at these places here by simply navigating through the panel on the right and selecting the required columns I wish to bring in. I can now use this created table as the base to create a blended report. So let's look at how you can accomplish that. So you're going to quickly go in here to create and click on creating a new chart. Now because I've only brought in those two columns, I only see two metrics on the left panel here. And it's as simple as dragging and dropping the required metrics into the panels on the right. Let's say I want to visualize the monthly count, and I'm going to click on create. As you can see, Analytics Plus offers a very easy to use and powerful report builder where I simply need to drag and drop the different values to build the report that I require. Now, while we're here, let's quickly set up a forecast to predict the volume I can expect in the next few months. I'm going to click on forecast and select the metric that I wish to forecast and simply click on apply. Let's switch to the view mode. And there you go. Not only am I able to combine data from two applications that do not talk to each other, but I've now effectively forecasted the incident volume for all my business units, irrespective of where the data is coming from. So, to recap, in situations where you have common data points across IT applications that you're importing data from, you can use the lookup functionality. And in cases where you don't, you can use the query table option to join one or more tables together for cross-correlation. One of the biggest advantages of Analytics Plus is that you can create custom KPIs that are not even part of the source IT applications from which you are importing data from. And the best part is, if you've created linkages between your IT applications, these KPIs can even be from data points that include two or more of your data sources. A simple and very commonly requested metric is the burn rate, which is an indicator of how quickly your technicians are able to turn around incidents that are created in the help desk. So this metric is calculated by dividing the number of requests resolved by the total number of requests that came into the help desk during the same period, and multiplying that value by 100. Let's see how I can build this formula using Analytics Plus. So this is a query table which was built where it brings in the data from the requests, and it also tells me the status of the various incidents that were created, which would be beneficial in building the burn rate metric. So to build the burn rate formula, I'm going to quickly go in here, click on Add, and click Aggregate Formula. So I'm going to quickly provide a name for the metric that I'm calculating. And so as we just saw, the burn rate is the number of tickets closed divided by the number of incoming tickets multiplied by 100. So that means I can choose to type out the formulas here and select, or also use the panel on the right to scroll through all the various formulas and the functions that are present here and select the ones that I need. So count if condition incoming status is closed divided by count if status equals incoming. Now, of course, I need to multiply this by 100. And there you go. Now that I've created this formula for burn rate, let's create a report using this formula that we've created to visualize this KPI. Alright, so I'm going to take time and add that to the x-axis, and of course switch between month and year. I'm going to take the count of the incoming requests, the count of the closed requests, and the burn rate formula that we just calculated. Click on Generate Graph. So this is how this report is going to look off the bat, and we're going to switch the visualization type to something that is more accurate and more visually appealing to reflect a combination chart. Now I can still go in and modify this by going into settings and choosing the combination. And there you go. So now this is the burn rate report, which was built using the burn rate formula metric that we just created. As you can see, it tracks the number of incoming requests each month and the corresponding number of requests that were closed in the same time period, and computes the corresponding burn rate for that month. So creating new metrics, new KPIs, new visualizations in Analytics Plus is really quite that simple. Analytics Plus supports all the common SQL and Excel functions with the same syntax, so the learning curve is non-existent for people who are already familiar with them. Now this is the final and the most interesting step in this entire process. So we have successfully funneled data from various IT applications into a single workspace and established cross-correlation. Now this workspace serves as a central repository for all our IT operational analytics. Building your ideal IT dashboard is just a few drag and drops away. An ideal IT operations dashboard should include metrics from the following areas. We should talk about the health of IT infrastructure, ensure there's metrics that discuss the efficiency of operations, the ROI, from technology implementations, as well as cover metrics that reflect the security posture of the organization. Now here's a dashboard that I've started to build based on the different metrics, the different key areas that we just discussed. So these widgets at the top of this dashboard are called KPI widgets, which reflect critical KPIs that are vital in any unified IT dashboard. You can use this outage probability KPI to understand the probability of outages and understand the health of your IT infrastructure. And you can also use this KPI to understand the overall IT budget utilization and compare it with your last year's utilization percentage. Let me quickly continue building this report. So I'm going to go into the edit design mode, and let's see how we can build another KPI widget to sit in this space. To do that, I'm going to go into the widget icon here, and let's build a KPI widget that's going to talk about the average age of the assets in your organization. Now to do that, I'm going to go into the data column and select for asset. Select the asset age and get the average function applied. Go into settings to get a preview of how my widget is going to look. So let's quickly rename this into something that's going to accurately reflect age of IT equipment in years, and then click on apply. So now this widget has been created here. To ensure uniformity and to make the dashboard more visually appealing, I'm going to click on this widget I created before, copy the dimensions, come here and paste the same dimensions so that there is uniformity being maintained. So similarly, I can continue adding several more KPI widgets based on the metrics that I wish to analyze. Let's look at a few important reports that we need to include into a unified IT dashboard. And as I mentioned, this step is so effortless and it's as simple as just dragging and dropping the reports that you want to add from the panel on the left. So let's start out by looking for a report that talks about your IT budget. So this report has the IT budget spent over each quarter and also displays the forecasted value. And as you can see, you can simply drag and drop the corners to reshape your reports as required. Let's also move on and ensure that we have a report that talks about SLA breaches. Okay, so this report talks about the SLA breaches across remote offices, which is a very vital metric, vital piece of information that you need to have on a unified IT dashboard so you can ensure that your operations are efficient and that your help desk is operating in an efficient manner across your enterprise. Following in the same line of thought, we can also look at a report that correlates incidents and computer addition. So this report helps me to understand if a number of new computers being added into my enterprise have an impact on the number of requests that are raised in my help desk software. Let's look at our final report, which would be endpoints with open requests. Of course, none of these are aligned, so I'm going to quickly roughly align that a little bit. Click on view mode. So this is a very basic dashboard that I've built. You can of course choose to go in and add your own reports, ensure you cover all the primary areas that we discussed during the starting of our session, and build your own unified IT dashboard. So breaking application silos and building a unified IT analytics dashboard can seem like a daunting task, and it is if you don't have the right tools at your disposal. IT analytics tools such as Analytics Plus make the life of IT managers easy by offering ready-made solutions to connecting and analyzing data from various IT applications. And this cuts down the amount of time it takes to reach the end result by at least 50%. IT teams can continuously expand into all relevant IT data sources once the primary sources are checked off. So all data is available for cross-correlation. Let me quickly summarize everything we discussed over the course of this session. Identifying IT apps that hold valuable data for analysis. Hone in on a primary set of critical IT applications that are crucial for smooth IT operations. To attain quick and meaningful results, ensure you don't pile on too many of your IT solutions in this step. Extracting IT operations data into a single data repository. You can leverage Analytics Plus's extensive range of out-of-the-box integrations to import data from a variety of commonly used IT applications. In situations where you wish to import data from outside this list of integrations, you can either connect to your IT application's backend database directly or import data using APIs. Blending IT data using common data points. To cross-correlate data from various IT applications in a contextual manner, we need to connect data points that are interrelated. Now you can accomplish this using the lookups functionality in Analytics Plus in situations where there is a common unique data point in two tables, or simply use query tables to combine data using a simple union function. Creating custom KPIs. Effortlessly create custom KPIs, such as the burn rate, using data from two or more IT applications. You can leverage Analytics Plus's powerful forecasting and formula engines to build custom KPIs. Then it's as simple as using these formulas to generate insightful visualizations. Building your ideal IT dashboard. Simply drag and drop critical reports to build your consolidated IT dashboard within minutes. It is recommended to ensure you include metrics that discuss the health of IT infrastructure and efficiency of operations, ROI from technology implementation, and security posture of the organization. The reports we covered over the course of this webinar were built using Analytics Plus, ManageEngine's IT analytics solution, using data spanning across various IT applications. Beyond offering comprehensive analytical capabilities, Analytics Plus also provides out-of-the-box integration with several IT applications. Now, this includes a range of ManageEngine applications such as Applications Manager, PAM360, Mobile Device Manager, to name a few. Analytics Plus also provides pre-built analytics for a range of third-party IT applications such as SolarWinds, Dynatrace, Jira Software, Zendesk, and ServiceNow. The primary benefit of these out-of-the-box integrations lie in the fact that they can be configured in minutes, post which you can access more than 300 pre-built contextual reports and dashboards. Beyond offering out-of-the-box insights from major IT applications, Analytics Plus continually strives to facilitate self-service on every level of its platform. A key player that facilitates this is our AI-driven analytics assistant, Zia. If you're just getting started with analytics and find BI tools to be daunting, well, Zia is your new best friend. All you have to do is strike up a conversation with Zia, either via text or voice, and Zia will automatically build your visualizations for you. While this removes the task of having to build a report yourself, understanding and breaking down the information displayed in a visualization can still take up quite a bit of time. But with Zia Insights, you can attain narrative, detailed interpretation of your analysis at the mere click of a button. And this proves beneficial especially in cases where immediate action is critical in putting out the fires in your organization. You can also use ZIA to uncover hidden information and dig deeper into your data to perform root cause analysis. Another beneficial and handy feature in Analytics Plus is our scenario analysis functionality. Using what-if analysis, you can execute powerful scenario analysis over your reports to visualize various outcomes based on a deciding factor. By understanding the business impact when changes occur ahead of time, you can adjust your strategies and achieve your business objectives with ease. You can also set up threshold-based alerts for your reports and get notified via in-app alerts or email. And this saves you the trouble of having to recheck your reports manually to avoid missing out on business-critical changes. This is also very helpful in notifying you of suspicious activities that occur within your environment. So that was a brief overview of the Analytics Plus application. And it looks like we have a few minutes left for a really quick Q&A session. So the first question I can see here is, do you offer pre-built blended analytics? Yes, so in addition to offering pre-built integrations and out-of-the-box reports and dashboards, Analytics Plus also offers pre-built blended analytics wherein you can blend data from Service Desk Plus and Endpoint Central or data from Applications Manager and App Manager instantly by simply importing or setting up the integrations in a same workspace like we did today. Analytics Plus will then automatically blend the data from these two applications and generate a range of blended pre-built reports and dashboards based on that combined data. Moving on to the next question. When I import data from different ME applications into one workspace, can I access the usual out-of-the-box reports also? Yes, so Analytics Plus will generate platform-specific out-of-the-box visualizations. So for instance, when you bring in data, when you set up an integration with Service Desk Plus, when you set up an integration with Endpoint Central, and also set up an integration with Splunk, all in the same workspace, in addition to establishing pre-built analytics between common data points, Analytics Plus will also still build all the usual reports and dashboards that are a part of these out-of-the-box integrations in that same workspace. So that brings us to the end of the questions and answers section. We've covered a lot of information through the course of this webinar, and I hope you benefit from this session. If you'd like to try out these reports for yourself, you can quickly download or sign up to the Mandarin Analytics Plus application, which provides a free, all-inclusive 15-day trial. Simply scan the QR code that's flashing on your screen to head to the sign-up page. From there, you can either download the on-premise version or sign up to the cloud version and get your application running with ease. Once that's done, it should take you mere minutes to set up all the various integrations that we discussed during our session today and access the pre-built reports and dashboards to build a unified IT dashboard. And with that, we have reached the end of this webinar. So that's about it from me, folks. If you had any questions or concerns during this session, please do contact me using the email address that's on your screen right now. I'd truly love to hear from you. Thank you for taking the time to attend this session today. Take care, everyone. Have a great day ahead.